Welcome back. It's time to bust some medical mysteries, and our twin doctors are back. Dr. I and Dr. J are with me this morning to answer these trending health questions. Guys, I have to tell you, I never look ahead for the answers, so I don't even know the answers to these, but my producer, Tina Palafero, always comes up with some juicy ones. Number one, guys, I'm going to jump in there. Dr. J, true or false? Cooling your feet before bed can help you fall asleep faster and sleep better. I'm going to say false.
That is false. You are right. So you don't want to cool your feet, although you do want to cool your core body temperature. So what happens is when you warm your feet, blood tends to flow where there is warmth. So the blood will flow from your body core to your feet. When the core blood flows out to the feet, blood takes with it warmth, so your core cools. When your body core cools, your brain makes more melatonin. Melatonin is what makes us fall asleep faster and sleep longer. And so that's why when we're talking to patients about sleep hygiene, one of the things we tell them is set your room temperature thermostat to between 65 to 68, cools your core. Warming your feet cools your core as well. So warm feet, fall asleep faster, sleep better.
I have been sleeping with socks on since my days in the military, and it has been the bane of many a relationship. We'll move on to the second question.
Right.
Dr. I, true or false? Despite all of the hype, olive oil is still an oil and therefore bad for your heart. I'm going to say false.
Yeah, that is false. Don't trash olive oil. Olive oil is king, let me tell you. So olive oil, there are really a few good things about olive oil. One, it's a monounsaturated fat, okay? So it's going to reduce your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, increase your HDL, which is your good cholesterol. That's great for your heart, reduces risk of heart attack, stroke, things of that nature. But also, olive oil is an anti-inflammatory, so it's good for joint pain, you know? And as we get older, and I'm getting into my upper 20s, I start to have a lot of joint pain, right? So olive oil is great for joint pain. It's an antioxidant as well. So it's good for your immune system, reduces the risk of cancer. Again, it is an antioxidant, reduces your risk of heart attack, stroke, obesity, all types of things. So olive oil is king. I am team olive oil. Use it all the time. Not all the time, but as much as you can when you need oil.
All right, Dr. J, true or false? Attractive people tend to live healthier and longer lives. I'm going to say that's false.
Actually, Nick, it is true. So people like us, we are going to live a long, healthy life. It is true. So this is the deal. Basically, people who are attractive tend to have stronger immune systems. So they did this study where they actually had people rate people based on their attractiveness or lack thereof. And then they did blood tests to see how strong their immune systems were. And what they found was attractive people tend to have more of these health-promoting, life-promoting immunoglobulins in their blood, and they tend to have more of these health-promoting, long life-promoting immune cells in their blood. And so what they found was, from an evolutionary standpoint, we innately pick up on that. We sense that somehow by their appearance and even by their smell from the pheromones. And so people that we find attractive, it's basically our innate evolution telling us this is a healthy person. This is somebody to mate with because they'll give you healthy kids. So the attractive people like you and Idris and us, we're going to live long, amazing lives.
Wow, I hope my employer feels that way. We'll see, right? It's all subjective, right? All right, guys, I do want to ask you this before I run out of time. True or false? Encouraging children, both of you guys, to do chores can actually be bad for their self-esteem. Encouraging children to do chores, bad for their self-esteem. I'm going to say absolutely false.
Absolutely false. Absolutely false. So the Children's Work Union would love for you to believe this, but no, doing chores is good for their self-esteem. Couple of things. First of all, when they do a job well done, it increases dopamine, right? Dopamine is that feel-good hormone, so they just feel better. But also doing chores teaches them a lot of just life skills, higher functioning skills, assuming they're getting a little cash, because I was getting a little cash for those chores. It also teaches them money management skills. So doing chores, absolutely. The kids will tell you it's horrible, it makes you feel bad, but it actually is good for them medically and psychologically. So keep doing those chores, kids.
Hey, guys, before I let you go, I just want to say to both of you, my producer told me a little secret. I understand that you both are celebrating a birthday, and I just want to say happy birthday, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
All right, to have your medical health questions answered on our show, and find Dr. I and Dr. J on social media at the Twin Doctors _. On this date, the iconic Woodstock Music and Art Fair opened its gates for the first time. Plus, Judy Garland's most popular movie premiered. Today is August 15th, and it's National Relaxation Day. In 1914, the Panama Canal finally opened to ships after 10 years of work.
There's no place like home.
You know that famous line by Judy Garland, aka Dorothy. The Wizard of Oz made its big premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, and of course, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion were all there too. Mayor Richard Daley declared Ernie Banks Day in Chicago, honoring the Cubs baseball player. And the Beatles played to their largest crowd of more than 55,000 people at Shea Stadium in New York City. Will and Grace star Deborah Messing was born. The iconic Woodstock Music and Art Fair opened, bringing in more than 400,000 people. And the song that inspired the dance performed at almost every wedding, the Macarena, was released by Los Del Rio. And in 2022, Solange Knowles became the first black woman to compose music for the New York City Ballet. And just in case you're wondering, the Macarena is probably the most famous one-hit wonder of all time. Billboard did rank it as the #1 song through 1996. Hey, a big new hour is straight ahead. We have more news for all America, and it starts right now. From our news station headquarters in America's Heartland, it's time for News for All America. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nick Smith. Breaking overnight, pro-Palestinian protesters clashing with police following a rally for Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz in New York City. Yeah, take a look at that video. Protesters bulldozing their way into a restaurant, calling out Democratic supporters over Israel's war in Gaza. Outside, smoke bombs filled the air as police fought protesters with their backs against the wall. Earlier, crowds of protesters heckled Democrats at that private event for the Harris campaign, one even holding a poster of Hamas's new leader. Today, President Biden and Vice President Harris addressing voters together. This is the first time the two have had a joint appearance since Harris took over as the presumptive nominee. This as former President Trump plans to hold another press conference later today. Both candidates focusing their attention on the economy and inflation. And out of control travelers, a woman throwing a computer at airport workers. What caused her meltdown and how did she get away? Plus,
she having a fever. She's soaked. She's in the water.
Here, I got a pump. Here.
Scary moments indeed. That little boy was frantic, a child flagging down a police officer to rescue his mom. His mom had had a seizure, drove him to the pond. The life or death rescue all caught on camera. But first,
American citizens' money goes to Israel and pays for this genocide.
we start our hour with that breaking news coming in overnight. Pro-Palestinian protesters storming a Democratic gathering in New York. The after party following a Harris-Walz campaign event in New York City's Harlem. It turned ugly when demonstrators clashed with police as they tried confronting Democratic leaders. Protesters setting off smoke bombs and reportedly causing thousands of dollars worth of damage to the outdoor venue space. Not long after Mayor Eric Adams and New York Governor Kathy Hochul had endorsed Harris and Walz. But we start with News Nation's Alicia Nieves outside that restaurant in Harlem where it was the site of that melee. Alicia, this is a chaotic scene, and many are wondering if it can be a preview of what we can expect to see around the nation as the DNC kicks off next week.
Well, good morning, Nick. That certainly is the concern, right? What we saw here unravel overnight last night with this protest, could that be what is to come? The reality is that the concern is not necessarily about more protests, because we know dozens are scheduled to be around the country, you know, throughout the rest of this week, over the weekend, and then on Monday when the DNC starts, but that it turns into the chaos that we showed a moment ago, right? Let me give you a little bit of background in terms of what led up to this protest and the rally that was kind of behind it. There were more than 100 protesters who were about 10 blocks from where I'm at right now. They were outside of a rally that was being held by Democrats here in New York. They were chanting, banging drums, waving banners. People who were attending that rally that was for Kamala Harris and her candidacy, as you mentioned, kind of endorsing it, were people like Governor Kathy Hochul, Mayor Eric Adams. Several protesters interrupting the mayor at one point during his impassioned speech, and the mayor kind of calmly responding to that, saying, quote, "I don't mind you being across the street. I don't mind that you want to raise your voice, but the election is, quote, the real fight. Go out and vote." Now, after that rally wrapped up is when some of the chaos unfolded where we're at, again, 10 blocks away from where that rally was. We saw some of the Democrats who attended the rally come to this kind of small restaurant here in Harlem. And those protesters, more than 100 of them, they actually followed. And so they followed at one point, going literally inside this restaurant. And you should be able to see that in some of the video that we have. Yelling inside here things like, "You set Gaza on fire," touting the death toll when it comes to Gaza. And then even really calling for these Democrats to really make a demonstration to call for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. They were eventually pushed out of this restaurant. Police were called. There were smoke bombs that were kind of filling this area with the hundreds of protesters that were out here, even clashing with police. And that led to some of the damage that we can kind of see here now. There are chairs in this restaurant that are now broken and damaged from it. This plant once had a flower pot. There's some shattered glass that's been cleaned up for the most part, but you can still see some remnants of that. Again, it unfolded into a chaotic scene that eventually the NYPD was able to get under control. But the concern is, as you noted, is this something that we'll see kind of in the future, the days to come, with all the protests that are scheduled around the country, Nick?
Alicia, that leads me to my next question. What do we actually know about these protesters? We saw several of them actually being led away in handcuffs.
Nick, I think I lost you for a second there, but when it comes to the protesters and in terms of what we know about these protesters, it's a little unclear who actually organized this, if anyone that was associated with this actual protest that unfolded overnight has been associated with prior protests or arrests, previously for protests that have started since the October 7th attack that, of course, led to the war that we see now in Israel, between Israel, Hamas, and in that Gaza region. What we do know is that there were some arrests that, according to our New York City affiliate with News Nation WPIX, about a dozen or so people apprehended, some of those arrested, and then some of those given summonses, Nick.
Alicia Nieves live for us in Harlem. Alicia, thank you so much. Protesters at that event also celebrating the resignation of Columbia University President Minouche Shafik. Her 13-month tenure marked by a series of protests where there were a series of chaotic and sometimes violent pro-Palestinian protests involving students, faculty, and activists. Many Jewish students said they feared passing by demonstrations. Shafik faced backlash after calling police to break up an encampment. Shafik is the 5th Ivy League president to resign over the past year. Her resignation follows the presidents of Harvard University and the University of Pennsylvania. And right now, you're looking live at the United Center in Chicago this morning. In 4 days, the Democratic National Convention will kick off, and law enforcement is on high alert ahead of that big event, working to try and prevent clashes between protesters and police, like the one we just saw in New York. Joining me now is the former superintendent for the Chicago Police Department, Eddie Johnson. Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Thanks for having me.
We've talked to you about security concerns when there are big events in the city of Chicago in the past. We know that Monday will have all the world looking at Chicago. And we also know that a crowd of pro-Palestinian protesters stormed into that Harris campaign fundraiser at an after-party in New York City, clashing with police, several arrests made. Is this a preview of what we can expect to see in Chicago next week, or do you believe Chicago will have a better handle on things?
Well, I think it is a preview of what we can potentially see. I know that the Chicago Police Department has been working diligently for the last 6 or 7 months to train their officers to be prepared for protests such as this. And let's remember, there's no such thing as 100% security. And along with the fact that indoor security is a lot easier than outdoor security. So you're never going to have it 100%. But I do think that we're going to probably see some clashes with the police out there during this time.
Now, the Chicago Police Department and other law enforcement agencies have had more than a year to prepare for this event, including seeing how college campuses responded to their demonstrations on their campuses. What has the department learned from those protests?
I mean, when you look at protests that happen before you have to actually do your due diligence for your particular event, you look at the flavor of it, the potential for violence, and you start to work towards those things to prepare your officers, because the most critical people out there on that front line are going to be the supervisors, the sergeants and lieutenants. And the reason is because they have to monitor those officers and monitor those skirmish lines. And if you see cops that are getting really agitated, then those supervisors, they have a duty to pull those cops off the front line so that we don't have police violence against the protesters. Let's remember, They have a right to protest with the First Amendment, but they don't have a right to turn a protest into a riot. And so that's what we have to be careful of.
Eddie Johnson, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
The Harris campaign says the vice president is getting ready to announce an economic policy platform that could have a serious impact on your wallet. It reportedly includes a proposal for the first ever federal ban on food and grocery price gouging. Sources tell News Nation Harris is set to also address credit card interest rates, housing prices, and medical debt as part of her broader plan during a Friday rally in North Carolina. The Harris camp says she wants to, quote, build on what Bidenomics has accomplished. Later today, President Biden will join Vice President Harris in Maryland. It marks the first time the president will appear with the vice president since he dropped out of the election, paving the way for Ms. Harris to take over the top of the ticket. It comes on the heels of the White House announcing a new Medicare deal that's projected to save Medicare enrollees about $1.5 billion. News Nation's Kelly Meyer is in Prince George's County, Maryland, where the president and vice president will speak today. Kelly, what can we expect to hear from Democrats when we know that they are under the spotlight for not having done much of a press conference since VP Harris has been at the top of the ticket?
Yeah, and this is a big moment, as you mentioned, Nick, for President Biden and Vice President Harris to be back on the campaign trail together for the first time since President Biden passed the torch now 25 days ago. The two are set to talk about lowering the cost for Americans, and that begins with health care. Now, you mentioned what they're set to announce here today. It's the first round of Medicare drug price negotiations that they say will save an estimated $6 billion. President Biden saying this morning that for the first time in history, his administration reached these agreements on new lower drug prices with the manufacturers of all 10 drugs selected. And they note that this is just the first round of drug price negotiations. Biden has been criticized throughout his administration for high costs, but he snapped back yesterday when asked if the U.S. has beat inflation. Take a listen.
Yes, I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And while the administration isn't saying exactly where the two may diverge, we know that Harris is going to break away from Biden on some of the policies, though they haven't outlined specific items, at least not yet. Nick.
Kelly, are you expecting those specific items to be kind of highlighted and be the focus? Since she is flying solo tomorrow, she will need to carve her own path to the presidency, right?
Yeah, it looks like this. You have Biden and Harris on the road together today, talking about what they say are the accomplishments of their administration. And then we're going to see Harris on the campaign trail herself solo. And they're trying to say this is building off of the accomplishments, what they call from the Biden-Harris administration, as she begins to kind of create her own lane and her agenda for the Harris-Walz administration. And what they're going to start with tomorrow is the economy. And this is something that the Biden-Harris administration has been criticized on. But what we're hearing from a source familiar with the Harris campaign agenda, they tell us that she will lay out her own version and her own vision on cost and inflation during her Friday economic speech in Raleigh, North Carolina. But they're emphasizing here that they are no way breaking with President Biden. She is expected to talk about things like this: housing costs, credit card interest rates, medical debt, food costs. And then we know that she is going to build off of this for more specific themes going into next week, into the week of the Democratic National Convention, where she will answer the question of just how she will govern this country if elected. Nick.
All of the issues that we keep finding are top of mind for voters. Kelly Meyer, thank you so much. Let's go now to News Nation's Tom Dempsey outside the White House. And Tom, good morning. While the Democrats head to Maryland, former President Trump will hold a press conference in Bedminster, New Jersey. What can we expect to hear from the former president?
Hey, good morning, Nick. Yeah, just hours from now, former President Trump expects to hold that press conference at his golf club in New Jersey. And while exact details of what he plans to talk about are a bit unknown, we might hear more about him. Criticism and shots taken against Vice President Kamala Harris for her lack of interviews and press conferences. This comes after Axios reported this morning that the former president held a phone call overnight with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about a possible ceasefire deal, with a high-profile meeting happening overseas about the war. And also, we saw a campaign rally with the former president in North Carolina on Wednesday, where he really criticized Vice President Kamala Harris on a number of issues, including the economy.
Does anyone here feel richer under Kamala Harris than Crooked Joe than you were during the Trump administration? Is anything less expensive under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe? I mean, we had inflation that I don't believe we've ever had inflation like that. You can go back a long way. Are you better off now with Harris and Biden than you were with a person named President Donald J. Trump? Do you know him? He's a nice gentleman. Nice gentleman.
Now, during that rally in Asheville, North Carolina, Mr. Trump laid out some of his economic policy, including leaning into the energy sector, vowing to cut energy and electric prices in half and increasing oil drilling even more. The former president also called for his signature tax cuts to be extended if he wins in November and calling for an end to federal taxes on tips and Social Security for senior citizens. And in a surprise here, too, during that campaign rally, Mr. Trump talked about keeping the Affordable Care Act in place, but saying that he might call for some changes to the Affordable Care Act in order to bring prices down for Americans. Nick?
Tom Dempsey, live at the White House. Tom, thank you so much. Here's a look at some of the other headlines this Thursday morning. International mediators are set to hold a new round of Gaza ceasefire talks. The United States, Qatar, and Egypt are scheduled to meet with an Israeli delegation in Qatar later today. They hope to halt the war in Gaza, secure the release of scores of hostages, and calm tensions across the region. Hamas has not said if it will be part of the talks, but has proposed amendments to the three-part plan. Israel has suggested clarifications. Both sides accuse the other of making new and unacceptable demands. The Associated Press obtained a new report revealing that workers got sick while cleaning up the train derailment site in East Palestine, Ohio. Workers reported having headaches and nausea from using high-pressure air knives to shoot compressed air into the ground, releasing chemicals from the sediment and water, but were only sent back to their hotels to rest. The findings were not released to the public despite residents' concerns about exposure and reports of illness. And Hurricane Ernesto pounding Puerto Rico, causing significant flooding after 6 to 10 inches of rain fell on the U.S. territory. High winds knocking out power to nearly 650,000 people, with no estimation on when power will be restored. Ernesto strengthening right now, and forecasters are expecting it to become a major hurricane before likely impacting Bermuda over the weekend. But there are no threats to the U.S. mainland at this time. With the DNC just days away, Democrats have no shortage of issues to hammer out as Vice President Harris gets ready to unveil her first policy proposals since taking over at the top of the ticket. Is the honeymoon period, is it over? Well, Democrats stare down tactics and chaotic protests and claims the vice president is avoiding the press. And traveling can be frustrating, but this irate passenger took it to a whole new low, hurling a computer at workers. What got her all riled up? When we come back.
Oh, what a good time we will have. You can make it happen again.
Voltaren for long-lasting arthritis pain relief.
Can Neuriva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no, Fraser, Frank. Frank?
Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Neuriva Brain Health Challenge.
My mental health was better, but uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, started disrupting my day.
TD felt embarrassing. I felt like disconnecting. I asked my doctor about treating my TD and learned about Ingrezza.
Ingrezza is clinically proven for reducing TD. Most people saw results in just 2 weeks. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. #1 prescribed Ingrezza has simple dosing for TD. Always 1 pill once daily. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
Take control by asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
Meet the Jennifers.
Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, each planning their future through the Chase mobile app. Gen X is planning a summer in Portugal with some help from JP Morgan Wealth Plan. Let's go, Whiskers. Gen Y is working with a banker to budget for her birthday. You only turn 30 once. And Gen Z, her credit's golden. Hello, new apartment. 3 gens getting ahead with Chase. Solutions that grow with you. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
That's for you to decide, but you should know the facts. I'm not looking to tell people what to believe or what to think. I am here to tell you to think.
Cuomo, weeknights, 8, 7 Central on News Nation. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. President Joe Biden live on night 1 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Trust News Nation to bring you every story, every angle, with respect for all Americans. Live coverage starts Monday, 7, 6 Central, only on News Nation.
Welcome back. 20 minutes after the hour. Former President Trump set to hold a news conference today in his New Jersey home. It's the second in as many weeks. This as he's ramping up pressure on Vice President Harris to face reporters.
She refuses to do any interviews or press conferences. Almost 30 days now. She hasn't done an interview. You know why she hasn't done an interview? Because she's not smart. She's not intelligent. And we've gone through enough of that with this guy.
Let's bring in Associate Research Scholar and Lecturer in Politics and Public Affairs at Princeton University, Dr. Lauren Wright, and Democratic strategist Kurt Bardella. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Nick.
Dr. Wright, I'm going to go ahead and start with you there. Does the claim that Vice President isn't smart and that's why she's avoiding reporters actually resonate with voters?
I don't think so. I can't think of a single group of voters that would work on except for people who are already voting for Donald Trump and just want to dunk on Harris. I don't know what swing voters you get as a result of this strategy. I don't know what moderates you get as a result of this strategy. I would advise against it. My only warning to Democrats would be that Trump has been saying this kind of stuff, whether it's Hillary Clinton, Harris, Biden, you name the candidate, for 20 years now. And he won in 2016 with this exact same strategy. So we can't just assume voters aren't willing to put it aside. They're very willing to put it aside when they're mad about policy. But no, it's not a beneficial angle for him.
You know, Kurt, Dr. Wright just said something that he won in 2016 with that strategy. Did he win with that strategy, or was so much about what people thought about Hillary Clinton already baked in, and it just reinforced what people thought?
Yeah, I do think that there's a really big difference between Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. Hillary Clinton had almost 2 decades of Republican machine attacks against her, tens of millions, if not billions of dollars spent demonizing her. By the time we got to the 2016 campaign, American people had a very cemented view of her, good or bad, whichever side of that you were on. I don't think that same level of interest, engagement, even and toxicity, frankly, exists for the vice president. And so I think it's a little bit different. And also, I think the politics are different today. You know, we have had since 2016 to now the Me Too movement, the Women's March. We are seeing obviously how women's rights and abortion policy has changed. I mean, women today have less rights right now with their body than they did in 2016. And I think that's a big deal.
And Kurt, let's talk about that, because we keep talking about that kitchen table issues are top of mind for voters. And I don't hear either side talking about a woman's access to health care. Kurt, a recent Financial Times poll found that Vice President Harris slightly leading former President Trump on who voters trust on the economy, though Mr. Trump had a 9-point lead over whose policies voters believe would make them better off financially. What do you make of that conflicting data?
Well, I think there's just going to be a lot of conflicting data, frankly, because you have some of that residue from the Biden economic policy agenda that hasn't trickled down yet to the American people in the way that they had hoped. You do have people, though, who don't give Kamala Harris the same baggage of Joe Biden, so that's why they like her a little bit more. And remember, there was a giant population here of folks who just didn't like either Donald Trump or Joe Biden. They wanted a fresh start. They wanted someone different at the top of the ticket. As Nikki Haley said, the party that ditches the 80-year-old nominee first will win this thing. And I think that you're going to see a lot of voters give Kamala Harris the benefit of the doubt because they've already tried Donald Trump's way. Frankly, they've tried Joe Biden's way. They haven't tried Kamala's way yet. And I think that voters just want something new.
Dr. Wright, voters wanting something new. Former President Trump says Vice President Harris's economic speech tomorrow will probably be a copy of his plan. And he also said this.
Under Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden, the American dream is dead. You don't hear about the American dream anymore. It's dead. Her radical liberal policies have caused horrific inflation, decimated the middle class, and gutted the finances of millions and millions of American families.
The Harris campaign, of course, fired back Dr. Wright, saying inflation is down, unemployment is at historic lows. Confronted with inconvenient facts, Donald Trump did what he does best, ignored them. He lied, he rambled, he yelled, he said the economy is not an important issue. Dr. Wright, who's winning the messaging war on this so far?
On the economy, it's still Republicans. I mean, no matter how you slice it, in every poll, people trust Republicans more on the economy. They trust Trump more on the economy. I don't put any stock in a 1 percentage point difference on Trump's ability to steer the economy. People think they'll be better off under Trump policies. The danger for Democrats is twofold. One, Harris can't separate herself from the administration's policies, and we shouldn't even try. I mean, she's been the most active vice president in history. She's a key decision maker. The White House press secretary just said on Monday, there's no daylight between them, and there never has been. It's the Biden-Harris administration. To suggest somehow she's not involved in a presidency where she's been a key confidant and policymaker is absurd. Then there's the question of trust on the economy, and it's very hard because how do you separate yourself from something without saying you weren't really as involved as we told you that we were?
Kurt, take the last 30 seconds.
Well, one, I think Dick Cheney was the most active and influential vice president in the history of our country. Number two, I don't disagree.
She's made more public appearances, believe it or not. Go ahead, Kurt.
As it turns out, I think influence is not the same as PR. If you know, Donald Trump seems to think that the measure for being president is how many rambling, deranged press conferences you have where you can just filter out lie after lie after lie. I don't think that's the measure of whether or not you should be president or vice president for that matter. We'll see. Again, Kamala Harris is going to take questions from the press. She's going to do press conferences. All these things are going to happen after the DNC convention. And I guarantee you 1 month from now, nobody's going to be having the conversation of whether Kamala Harris can take a question or not.
Or her mental acumen, possibly. Kurt Bardella and Dr. Lauren Wright, thank you both so much. Taylor Swift is back and saying the show must go on. The pop icon returning to the stage after a terror threat canceled her shows in Vienna. The new precautions in place to keep fans safe on one of the world's biggest stages. And this video may be hard to watch. It's the moment a Texas mom was rescued from a submerged vehicle, how her son helped save her life, and what he says happened seconds before she drove into the water.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, she came out fighting. 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on, 5 different medications. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx can save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. You do the math, the money we're able to save with using GoodRx, we're able to do all these extra activities. She can hit hard, too, for a little skinny thing. So it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Can Nariva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no. Fraser, Frank.
Frank? Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
It's time to grow your business. Create a website. How? GoDaddy. Coding? Nah. But all that writing? Nope. AI. Done. Built.
Let's get to work.
Create a beautiful website in minutes with GoDaddy.
The virus that causes shingles is sleeping in 99% of people over 50. It's lying dormant, waiting, and could reactivate. Shingles strikes as a painful, blistering rash that can last for weeks, and it could wake at any time. Think you are not at risk for shingles? It's time to wake up, because shingles could wake up in you. If you're over 50, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about shingles prevention.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for. And pause my subscription when I want, and have hundreds of free channels.
Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
Stay tuned to get this Ultra Nonstick Bakeware set free from Granite Stone. Get ready for a kitchen full of the most durable Ultra Nonstick cookware at the most affordable price anywhere. Introducing Granite Stone Blue, the fast, easy way to cook gourmet family meals every day. Granite Stone Blue cookware is pressed from solid aluminum and coated 3 times with our durable Ultra Nonstick Granite Stone Blue finish. They come with vented tempered glass lids and are 100% dishwasher and metal utensil safe. You can get the Granite Stone Blue 12-piece set for just 4 easy payments of $49.95. As a bonus, we'll include our stainless steel steamer and fry set. Plus, you'll get our Granite Stone Blue bakeware set. Together, they're a $110 value. Yours free. That's an incredible 20-piece Granite Stone Blue set. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-380-8515. That's 1-800-380-8515 or visit granitestoneblue.com.
American citizens' money goes to Israel and pays for this genocide.
Breaking overnight, pro-Palestinian protesters storm a Democratic gathering in New York. The after-party following a Harris campaign event in New York City turning ugly as demonstrators clashed with police while trying to confront the Democratic leaders in attendance. Protesters setting off smoke bombs and reportedly causing thousands of dollars worth of damage. Later today, President Biden will join Vice President Harris in Maryland for a speech. Now, she's set to introduce a key piece of her new economic platform. This will mark the first time President Biden will campaign with the vice president since he dropped out of the election. The president has hinted that today's announcement will involve lowering drug prices. And today, former President Trump will hold another press conference, this time at his golf course in Bedminster, New Jersey. Mr. Trump's second press conference in as many weeks comes as he works to find an effective line of attack against VP Harris, who continues to rise in the polls, closing the once commanding lead that Trump held over Mr. Biden. Trump continues to slam Vice President Harris for seemingly running a basement campaign and avoiding the media. Ms. Harris has been at the top of the ticket for 25 days and has not done any interviews or press conferences since that time. Today, Taylor Swift will make her much-anticipated return to London, just 1 week after a foiled terror plot canceled the pop star's concerts in Vienna. You're looking live right now in London, outside Wembley Stadium, where in just a matter of hours, tens of thousands of Swifties will be gathering for that sold-out show. These 5 tour dates in the UK are seeing increased security following a planned assault on Swift's concerts in Austria. 3 people have been arrested, with one of the suspects admitted to intending to carry out an attack at the concert using, quote, explosives and knives. For more insight, I'm now joined by Hagar Chemali, foreign policy expert and host of Oh My World. Thank you so much, Hagar, for being here.
Nick, thanks for having me.
Hagar, I've told everyone how much I enjoy you just giving us insight on things that we don't always understand, particularly in the world of national security. Now, the London Metropolitan Police Department has told NewsNation this, quote, there is nothing to indicate that the matters being investigated by the Austrian authorities will have an impact on upcoming events here in London. We're talking 5 concerts with 90,000 attendees for each show. How can they ensure concert goers, Hagar, that nothing goes wrong in the UK?
Well, in general, everybody since October 7 has been on a heightened terror alert. And that's in particular in the United States and Europe. And so they are going to be on alert for large events, large gatherings of this kind. But particularly after this, what you had now, this thwarted terror plot happening in Austria, where you had, as you said, 3 concerts that were canceled because of an ISIS-inspired attack, planned attack, that's only going to put them on higher alert. So they're going to be in touch with all of their partners for intelligence. And by partners, I mean partners that they have around the world, governments around the world, the United States and Europe, but also in Israel, also in areas where, in particular, you have ISIS-K. ISIS-K is stands for Khorasan, which is an area encompassing parts of Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan. And Iran, sorry. And so they're going to have intelligence, enhanced intelligence. They're going to be monitoring very closely for social media. They're going to be asking people for tips if they see something, to say something. And they're probably going to do things at the door to make sure that nobody comes in with anything that could be used in any kind of violent way.
And even things outside.
It will heighten that, but I think they'll be ready.
And even things outside, like we do know that officers are hoping to stop fans without tickets from even gathering outside the venues and what is often called tailgating. Tens of thousands of fans usually come out, and it's something that Taylor Swift herself has acknowledged and encouraged before, but will that work?
Well, it'll certainly help. I mean, the less people you have who have nothing to do with the concert, who are just hanging around outside, the better, because they obviously pose a risk. But one of the most valuable things in this, to be honest with you, in my experience, I had worked in counterterrorism in the U.S. government, is it's the intelligence that allows the police and law enforcement to be a step ahead. So doing things like that, making sure that you have non-affiliated audience members who aren't hanging around, that of course helps. You don't want them to be a distraction. But it's the intelligence, it's knowing of people beforehand, following people on social media, getting tips, that following those in their country who might be in touch with known terrorists. That's how these law enforcement individuals stay a step ahead of the game, and that's probably why the UK police feels confident, because they haven't seen that kind of activity.
Hagar Shamali, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Dick.
One man has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Disney. While media and entertainment giant agrees there was some negligence involved, it wants to dismiss the case, and you'll never guess why. They say it should be tossed.
You know, you only get one body. It might be the perfect size to do this. Your body may take up a lot of space, or have to speak with its hands. But no matter what body you're born with, you only get one. Let's fight like hell for it.
Can Nariva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no. Fraser, Frank. Frank? Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
An alternative to pills, Voltaren is a clinically proven arthritis pain relief gel which penetrates deep to target the source of pain with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medicine directly at the source. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Here we are driving down the road, and all of a sudden, bang! Oh! Look at that. You know what we can do now? Go to SafeLight.com. They are the experts at replacing and recalibrating windshields. If you get a crack in your windshield, there's only one choice. Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want. Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
Meet Mike. Mike's been hearing a ton about CBD. Some people are telling him it's changed their life. Now he's wondering if he should try it. He's lucky because he has friends he trusts who have found a really good CBD product they recommend.
Nothing is as great as this stuff. I mean, Harrelson's own CBD is like my secret weapon.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next.
Give your life a boost.
We make every bottle of Harrelson's Own from 100% organic CBD, hand-harvested right from the farm. It's actually one of the fastest-acting CBDs on the market today. So you start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes.
It hits my body really fast.
It like takes literally under 2 minutes to work versus 60 minutes. Other brands that I've tried take forever. I don't have time for that.
You're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it.
I used to be the kind of person that would take ibuprofen several times a week. I carry a lot of tension in my neck and shoulders, but the first time I tried Harrelson's Own, my headache went away in like 10 minutes.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I've got this. I'm a boss woman.
In order to connect with my kids, I have to not want to lose my mind. That's where Harrelson's Own comes in for me.
I'm just in the zone all day, fully focused, fully energized, and I can balance and juggle everything.
I'm like crushing it all day long.
I am much happier. My kids are definitely happier.
We know you are going to love Harrelson's Own, and your satisfaction is important to us. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee.
I've just started incorporating it into my everyday life now.
I absolutely love it. It has been a game changer for me.
And then whenever I come home, I've got plenty of energy to still go out with my friends.
Better nerves, better success. It is my secret weapon.
Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to harrelsonCBD.com to order yours now.
What's going on?
She's having a fever. She's sunk. She's in the water.
Oh, come on. Hop in. I'll bring you over there.
Yeah, that's a scary moment. That body cam showing the moment a Texas woman was rescued from a submerged vehicle. Here's what happened. West Orange police officer said that he saw a frantic young boy running toward him on the highway, saying that his mother had a seizure and needed help after she had driven the car into the water. Now, with the help of some passersby, the officer was able to pull her out of the water and get her to treatment. After spending 3 weeks in the ICU, she is expected to make a full recovery. That woman was irate. She was a passenger at the airport throwing computers at Frontier workers. The woman making a scene at O'Hare, and she had just learned that she had missed her flight. In fact, she gets so mad that she hops over the check-in counter, and you can see there, taking the video. A nearby passenger, the woman says she threw a computer and monitor towards staff and another to the ground. She eventually retreats, yelling at the staff. Police are still looking to identify that woman. And Disney is trying to dismiss a wrongful death lawsuit citing a free trial of its streaming service. Jeffrey Piccolo's wife died in February because of an allergic reaction while eating at a restaurant in Disney World. The family says they told their waiter multiple times about her allergies and were reassured about being accommodated. Now, Disney argues because Piccolo signed up for a free trial of the Disney Plus agreement back in 2019, under those terms and conditions, he cannot bring the case to court and must settle by arbitration. Oh, to help us break this all down, let's bring in Misty Maris, trial attorney and legal analyst. Misty, the reason we love you here is because sometimes things seem so black and white, cut and dry, that we're like, well, of course this makes sense, but you always have a way to make it clear for us. Have you ever heard of a legal strategy like this? And do you think the argument from Disney is a winning one?
This is really something. So when's the last time you read the terms and conditions when you signed up for any of your apps? I know me, I scroll right through and say, okay. But listen, let's break down what's actually happening here. So what Disney is arguing is that any and all claims, no matter what they are subject to this arbitration agreement that was written into those terms and conditions on the Disney Plus app. Now, the argument is pretty novel, maybe a clever defense argument. The reason they want to do it is arbitration is a more favorable defense venue, especially when you have a very sad case like this where jurors, their heartstrings could be really torn by this case. So get it before an arbitrator. You've got a judge who's going to look at the legal nuances. But Nick, you can't look at this language in isolation. You have to look at the rest of the terms and conditions and say, would this apply under this circumstance? And if you look at it, it's everything you would expect. It's about membership. It's about canceling. It's about copyright. Nothing to do with stepping foot in the park. So at the end of the day, Disney is trying to expand the reach of this arbitration agreement to when you're in that park and you're going to the restaurants or you're going on the rides. But I think this is going to fall flat, and we're going to see the plaintiffs successfully litigate this case in a court before a judge and jury as opposed to an arbitration.
And Misty, Disney is also saying that, hold up, that restaurant is not owned or operated by Disney and that they're defending themselves from being named in the lawsuit. How does Disney fit into this lawsuit?
Right, so that's another issue. So the first question, threshold, who's going to hear the case? Is it an arbitrator or is it a judge and jury? That will be decided shortly. That's the argument they made to try and compel arbitration. The second issue is their liability. Disney is saying they're not an owner of the restaurant. That is a defense to say they don't have direction and control over the restaurant and therefore cannot be held liable for this death. The questions of fact to be answered that will come out throughout the trial: what control does Disney have? Do they do training? Do they have safety protocols and procedures? Presumably, even if the restaurant is owned by somebody else, there is some sort of agreement to operate on Disney property. So those are all factual questions that need to be answered in order to know whether or not Disney can be held liable, whether they're an owner of the restaurant or not.
Misty, we love when you come on the show. See, I hope to never need your services, but if I do, Misty, I want you in my corner. Mr. Maris, thank you so much.
See you, yes.
Misty, thank you so much. All right, camping and comfort. It's not a combo many are used to. But if you're looking to upgrade your outdoor experience, we've got the perfect items to pair with nature that won't break the bank.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Oh, what a good time we will have. You can make it happen again.
Voltaren, for long-lasting arthritis pain relief.
Can Nariva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no. Fraser, Frank. Frank? Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
Here we are driving down the road, and all of a sudden, bang! Oh! Look at that. You know what we can do now? Go to SafeLight.com. They are the experts at replacing and recalibrating windshields. If you get a crack in your windshield, there's only one choice. Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for.
And
pause my subscription when I want and have hundreds of free channels.
Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
Not every decision you make will be as good as getting a Volkswagen at the Savvy VW Summer Sales Event. 2024 Volkswagen models cost less to maintain than Honda.
Get 0.9% APR financing or a $3,500 customer bonus on a new 2024 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport.
What the biggest companies deliver is exceptional customer experience. What makes it possible is unmatched connectivity and 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile connects 100,000 Delta Airlines employees, powers Tractor Supply stores nationwide with reliable 5G business internet, and helps Red Bull revolutionize coverage of live events. This is how business goes further with T-Mobile for Business.
Introducing new Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical pain reliever with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact to target tough pain at the source for up to 8 hours of powerful relief. New Advil Targeted Relief.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. With Tremfya, most people saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months, and the majority stayed clearer at 5 years.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Emerge Tremfyant. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Stay tuned to get this Ultra Nonstick Bakeware set free from Granite Stone. Get ready for a kitchen full of the most durable Ultra Nonstick cookware at the most affordable price anywhere. Introducing Granite Stone Blue, the fast, easy way to cook gourmet family meals every day. Granite Stone Blue cookware is pressed from solid aluminum and coated 3 times with our durable Ultra Nonstick Granite Stone Blue finish. They come with vented tempered glass lids and are 100% dishwasher and metal utensil safe. safe. You can get the Granite Stone Blue 12-piece set for just 4 easy payments of $49.95. As a bonus, we'll include our stainless steel steamer and fry set. Plus, you'll get our Granite Stone Blue bakeware set. Together, they're a $110 value. Yours free. That's an incredible 20-piece Granite Stone Blue set. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-380-8515. That's 1-800-380-8515 or visit granitestoneblue.com.
Welcome back. You're looking at the serene waters of Grindstone Lake Campground in New Mexico, courtesy of EarthCam. Whether you're heading to the mountains, forest, or lakeside, packing the right gear is key. But before we tell you about the top tested fall camping must-haves, grab your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. It will take you to newsnationnow.com for the latest deals. And joining us now is the Senior Director of Content Operations at bestreviews.com, Jacob Palmer, who always has all the good gadgets and fun stuff. Jacob, good morning.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, Jacob, let's break it down. What are the essentials for staying comfortable on the camping trip? What features are ideal for rainy days?
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of different things are going to be looking out there when you're trying to find the perfect fall camping gear. And, you know, the true campers will tell you that the fall is the best time of year to do it. But you can run into rainy days, and also you can run into a lot of different issues out there. And so one of the tents that we absolutely love for the ease of setup, and also because it basically sets up a living room outside, so, you know, that's going to be good for protecting yourself against rainy days, comes from Gazelle Tents. Basically, it rolls out and it pops up, and then you're ready to go with this thing. It's not the lightest thing. I wouldn't recommend it for backpacking, but if you're looking to set up that living room inside, you know, outside in the campground, this is a great place to start.
All right, can you show us some products that you might recommend to keep mosquitoes and bugs at bay? Because my mother used to swear by a product she used to order from Avon.
Yeah, so there's a product that we absolutely love here. Very cheap, very affordable. It's a mosquito head net, and it does exactly what that says. Basically, you can put it over your head. You know, it's sized in a way that you can put it over whatever hat you're wearing. You know, and right now it is marked down. So if you follow that QR code, you can find you know, cheaper versions of it. This isn't for the luxurious camper. This is for the person real deal camping.
So this really will keep mosquitoes away. Is that the idea?
That's the idea. And then when you pair it with the Repel 100 insect repellent, you know, that will definitely keep the mosquitoes away. So, you know, you want to keep your face pristine. Maybe you don't want to be spraying around there. Use the net. But if you want to use it for your body and keep it away from, honestly, we did testing out here in California on that, and we found that it lasted for even longer than it claimed on the bottle. It was actually really impressive.
Jacob, I don't want to run out of time, but I do want to talk to you about, with skin cancer being the most common cancer in the U.S., sun protection is also crucial. How can we stay safe outside, and what products do you recommend when outdoors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SPF is a must-have, just like the mosquitoes. You want to be able to protect yourself from the elements to keep that luxurious feel. And so we love the Naturium UV Reflect antioxidant sunscreen. Again, it lasted for a long time. You know, we're talking about hours here, even if you're sweating and swimming. Obviously, if you are sweating and swimming, you want to apply more frequently. But we absolutely loved it for its lightweight, and also it has thoughtful ingredients that I think are worth checking out.
Jacob Palmer, once again, bringing us the best deals. We love it. Jacob Palmer, for the more Best Reviews products, you can use your phone to scan that QR code right there at the bottom of your screen. It will take you to newsnationnow.com for the latest deals. Jacob, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Walmart is out with its latest earnings report, and America's largest retailer outperformed expectations, with revenue growing by nearly 5%. Walmart now says it expects sales to continue to rise for the rest of the year. The report spells good news for the economy as Walmart shoppers visited their stores and website more often and spending more than they did this time last year, with online sales jumping by 22%. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows, as the giant retail expects the second half of the year won't be as strong as Wall Street anticipates. All right, it's no secret things are heating up between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, right? But Kelce is not proposing to the pop star anytime soon unless that prenup is in place. Say what? The Scoop with Paula is next.
Coming up next, News Nation Live with Marnie Hughes on News Nation, News for all America.
This bathroom's so musty.
Damprid's new fast-acting drop-in tab attracts and traps excess moisture, eliminating musty odors.
An alternative to pills, Voltaren is a clinically proven arthritis pain relief gel which penetrates deep to target the source of pain with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medicine directly at the source. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Can Nariva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no. Fraser, Frank. Frank?
Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
I never want to shop for car insurance again. And with the Experian Insurance Marketplace, I don't have to. They shop for me with over 40 top providers, and they alert me about better rates in the future. Free. I saved $800.
Go to Experian.com/car.
Did you know taking Xyzal at night relieves allergies while you sleep? So you wake refreshed for a more productive day. Get 24-hour continuous relief that does not fade. Be wise all, take Xyzal at night.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want. Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
Getting older is part of the journey, even with worsening heart failure. So when I had carpal tunnel syndrome, lower back pain, and shortness of breath, I thought that's what getting older felt like. Thank goodness I called my cardiologist. I have ATTR-CM, a rare but serious disease, and getting diagnosed early made a difference. If you have any of these warning signs, don't wait. Ask your cardiologist about ATTR-CM today.
She grew up in a middle-class home. She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree. Kamala Harris knows what it's like to be middle class. It's why she's determined to lower healthcare costs and make housing more affordable. Donald Trump has no plan to help the middle class, just more tax cuts for billionaires. Being president is about who you fight for, and she's fighting for people like you.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
It's time to grow your business. Time to get customers. Time to make your future now. Create a website in minutes. How? GoDaddy. Coding? Nah. But all that writing? Nope. AI. Done, built, up, and running. You have what it takes. Now take it to the next level. Create a beautiful website in minutes with GoDaddy.
Let's get to work.
Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
Choose Advil Liquid Gels for faster, stronger, and longer-lasting relief than Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Because Advil targets pain at the source of inflammation. So for faster pain relief, Advil, the pain away.
Join the CW's powerhouse lineup of golf superstars.
Incredible!
For Live Golf Greenbrier, live this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's relationship seem to be getting serious, but Kelce isn't planning on getting on one knee unless a prenup is reportedly in place. Our News Nation senior story editor Paula Froelich joins us with the scoop. Paula, what is this Iron Club prenup stuff all about?
Okay, so let's move back. I don't like to call baloney skins on other people's work, but I am calling baloney skins on this. I do believe they are going to have ironclad prenups that will happen before they get married, but not before they get engaged. If only because they both love huge romantic gestures. You know, when she first played Paris, he sent chocolates and all sorts of Paris-themed gifts. They go on $100,000 shopping sprees. They go on these vacations. And you're not going to be like, hey, baby, let's get this prenup worked out. And then, by the way, here's a ring. That's ultimately unromantic, and it's not going to happen. It will happen before they get married, like any smart couple worth a lot of money. And, you know, it's kind of like Ben and J-Lo, right? They have ironclad prenups, so when they do decide to quietly unseal their marriage, it's going to be easy as heck.
Oh, totally get it. Let me move on to actor Joaquin Phoenix. His exit from Todd Haynes' latest film is causing quite a stir in Hollywood. What's up? Why did he walk off the set?
All right, so here's the deal. This movie was supposed to start filming in 5 days. A lot of money has been put down. A lot of people have blanked out their schedule. And he walked off because he got cold feet. He had nerves. The movie is about two men in 1930s Mexico who have a illicit and passionate gay love affair. So there were rumors that he walked off because it was a gay movie. That's absolutely not true. I think he just gets very nervous. He's talked about it before. You know, he almost threatened to walk off Napoleon mid-production if there weren't rewrites by Paul Thomas Anderson. So, you know, I think either way, if he doesn't go back on set, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. He's going to be out a lot of money. Or, you know, Bruce Willis did this once with Disney way back in the day. And he walked off, and they said, you know what, fine, you have to make 3 movies under budget for us. And he did, one of which was The Sixth Sense, relaunching his career.
Paula, I have one more story for you I got to have you touch on because I've become a Garth fanatic since going to Vegas and seeing him live. What's up with Garth Brooks living like he's not a multimillionaire?
Okay, I love this so much. He's the Warren Buffett of the country music scene, all right? He is from very humble beginnings. You know, he left Nashville at the height of his career in 2001 and moved to Oklahoma with his first wife so he could raise their three daughters as normal human beings. You know, they all had jobs. He and his now wife, Trisha, they're both pretty frugal. And it's not because they're worried. They just want to maintain normal lives and not get caught up in the hoo-ha of Nashville or Hollywood.
Oh, you know what? I know where I want to run off. I want to run off somewhere with you, Paula. How about that?
Oh,
and I don't want it to be Oklahoma.
I'm your friend in low places. I
Paula
love you.
Froelich, News Nation senior story editor. Paula, thank you so much.
Exactly.
Bye-bye. Marnie Hughes is here to continue our coverage on News Nation Live. Marnie, this Thursday has been filled with so much fun and excitement, but I know you're going to continue it on the other side.
Yes, thank you. You guys ride off into the sunset, Nick. I'll see you tomorrow. It's Thursday, August 15th. Time for News Nation Live.